Boris Johnson breaks away from rivals in Tory leadership race with 1 in 3 party members backing him to replace Theresa May. Former Foreign Secretary is a clear favourite among member-to-be new leader Mr Johnson, backed by 33% in new poll on influential Conservative home website. His rival Dominic Raab on 15%, with Michael Gove next on 8%. 3 out of 5 Tory voters to back Farage's Brexit Party at European elections by Martin Robinson, chief reporter for Mail Online, published 12:50 BST, April 22, 2019, updated 16:39 BST, April 22, 2019. Boris Johnson is streets ahead in the race to replace Theresa May as Tory leader and has an 18-point lead over his nearest rival Dominic Raab, a poll of party supporters revealed today. A survey on the influential Conservative home website shows 33% of people want Mr Johnson to take over as party chief. He enjoys twice the support of his nearest rival Dominic Raab on 15%, followed by Michael Gove on 8%, Jeremy Hunt on 6% and Sajid Javid on 5%. The poll, published today, shows Jacob Rees-Mogg, David Davis, Matt Hancock, Esther McVeigh and Penny Mordaunt on just 2%. Con Home chief Paul Goodman said, Boris' resignation catapulted him to the front of the queue as the main Conservative opponent of Theresa May's EU policy. And the worse she does, the more he thrives. The postponement of Brexit, the talks with Jeremy Corbyn, the return of Nigel Farage, the looming European elections, the sense of drift and paralysis, all these have bumped him up to his highest total since last August. Boris Johnson looks unstoppable in terms of support from grassroots Tories who want him to be the next party leader. A new poll revealed today Mr Johnson enjoys twice the support of his nearest rival Dominic Raab on 15%, followed by Michael Gove on 8%. Sir Graham Brady, chairman of the powerful 1922 committee, is set to tell the PM to stand aside or risk her own MPs altering the Conservative Party leadership rules to force her out. The influential backbencher will meet with Mrs May to tell her that 76% of Tory MPs want her to resign over her handling of Brexit. Members of the committee will meet on Tuesday to discuss whether to tear up the party rulebook that currently prevent a second no-confidence vote being held until December. It was reported yesterday, Mrs May has promised to quit as leader once Britain leaves the EU, but has so far failed to get a deal through Parliament. As a result, the party is set to be badly beaten in the local elections and European elections. Last night it emerged that 3 in 5 Tory members are set to vote for Nigel Farage's Brexit Party in next month's European elections. In an indication of the size of the grassroots rebellion against Theresa May's Brexit delay, a poll has found less than a quarter of Tory members are planning on voting Conservative. The survey on the Conservative home website found 62% would be casting their vote for Nigel Farage's new party. It comes days after it emerged that Tory county councillors in Derbyshire were effectively going on strike by refusing to campaign for the European polls. They said they would not take part because the elections should not be happening as the UK should have left the EU at the end of March. Fourth favourite for the job is Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt on 6%, followed by Home Secretary Sajid Javid on 5%. The open rebellion comes amid growing anger at Mrs May's decision to delay Brexit until the end of October, and over her negotiations with Labour's Jeremy Corbyn. A poll in yesterday's Mail on Sunday found that 40% of Tory councillors plan to back Mr Farage's party on May 23. And another survey for Conservative Home suggested party members were even more likely to defect than its activists. The poll found just 23% of members will vote Conservative next month, compared with 62% who will cast their vote for the Brexit Party. 4% say they will not vote at all and 5% have not made up their mind. Another 4% say they will vote for Change UK, the independent group which supports a second referendum, while less than 1% will vote for UKIP. A survey for the Mail on Sunday found Mrs May's leadership as a problem for Tory councillors. Only about half said they were planning to vote Conservative at the European elections. That rose to 65% if Boris Johnson were party leader. Surveytion also found 43% of Tory councillors believed May should resign now, with 33% saying she should go after a Brexit deal has passed and only 21% saying she should stay. Brexiteer Minister Penny Mordaunt is among the outsiders with around 2% of support among grassroots supporters, referring to a decision by Derbyshire Conservatives not to campaign in the European elections. Mr Farage said, "The faithful servants of one of the oldest political parties in the world are on strike. They refuse to go out and canvass, such as their anger, and, no doubt, sheer embarrassment, at the appalling mess created by our dishonest Prime Minister." It emerged last night that 70 local party chairmen have signed a petition calling for Mrs May to consider her position as leader. It means the National Conservative Convention, which represents Tory volunteers, now has a duty under the party's constitution to call an extraordinary general meeting, the Daily Telegraph reported. This would allow a no-confidence vote in Mrs May to be held, even though it has been less than 12 months since the last vote, which the Premier survived in December. Amid all the turmoil, Mrs May found something to laugh about yesterday as she spoke to choristers after the Easter Sunday service at a church in her Maidenhead constituency. Mr Farage enjoyed a cuppa at a tea room at Shoreham Aircraft Museum in Kent. From hard Brexiteers to Remainers, the race for number 10 Dominic Raab 10/1 age, 46. Former Brexit Secretary. Die-hard Brexiteer. Background: son of a Czech-born Jewish refugee who fled the Nazis in 1938 and died of cancer when Raab was 12. Experience: lasted only 4 months as Brexit Secretary, voted against May in leadership confidence vote. Strength: skilled debater who honed his skills as an adversarial lawyer with blue-chip legal firm Linklaters. Weakness: seen as too clever by half and lacking people skills. Verdict: in second place in Conservative Home's leadership league table. Boris Johnson 4/1 age, 54. Former Foreign Secretary. His support for Brexit was vital to Leave's win. Background: known for being identified by just one name, Boris, for his show-off classics references and for chaotic private life. Experience: twice voted London Mayor. Strength: starry, charismatic and clever crowd pleaser. Weakness: bumbling Foreign Secretary. May struggle to win M.P.'s support. A Stop Boris campaign is likely. Verdict: party grassroots love him and he's top of the Conservative Home League table by 12 points. Matt Hancock 12/1 age, 40. Health Secretary. Arch Remainer. Background: father bought their council house. Ran his own computer software business before becoming Chancellor George Osborne's Chief of Staff. Experience: cabinet minister for only 18 months. Seen as a coming man '. Strength: one of life's tigers with ambition and enthusiasm to match his brainpower. Weakness: never knowingly modest, he once foolishly likened himself to Churchill, Pitt, and Disraeli. Verdict: little known among Conservative Party members. Amber Rudd 25/1 age, 55. Work and Pensions Secretary. Remain cheerleader. Background: daughter of a Labour-supporting stockbroker and Tory-leaning JP. Experience: became Home Secretary after just 6 years as an MP, resigned over the Windrush scandal after inadvertently misleading MPs. Strength: tough operator who was restored to cabinet within 6 months. Weakness: holds seat with majority of only 346. Headmistressy manner but an accomplished performer. Verdict: 9th in leadership league table. Esther McVeigh 33/1 age, 51. Former Welfare Secretary. An ardent Brexiteer. Background: spent the first 2 years of her life in foster care. Was a breakfast TV presenter before becoming a Tory MP on Merseyside. Experience: as welfare minister was viciously targeted by Labour. Strength: tough and telegenic. Won plaudits with members for resigning from cabinet over Brexit deal. Weakness: some say she doesn't have the intellectual firepower for top job. Verdict: ranked 14th in league table. Penny Mordaunt 33/1 age, 46. International Development Secretary. Arch Brexiteer. Background: her mother died when she was a teenager. Cared for younger brother. Experience: was a magician's assistant, appeared in the reality TV show Splash. Strength, only female MP to be a Royal Naval Reservist. Attended Lady Thatcher's funeral in uniform. Weakness, inexperienced, having been in cabinet for less than 2 years. Has never run a major Whitehall department. Verdict, edged up to 11th in Conservative Home League table. Andrea Leadsom 16/1 age, 55. Leader of the Commons. Ardent Brexiteer. Background, a former city trader, mother of 3. Experience, struggled in her first cabinet post, as Environment Secretary. Strength, blossomed as Leader of the Commons, winning plaudits for taking on Speaker John Bercow. Weakness, stood for a leader in 2016 but made ill-considered comment comparing her experience as a mother to the childless Mrs. May. Verdict, has soared to the top of the Conservative home table of competent ministers. Michael Gove 4/1 age, 51. Environment Secretary. High Priest of Brexiteers. Background, adopted son of a Scottish fish merchant. Experience, figurehead for Leave during referendum campaign. Cabinet heavyweight who served as Education Secretary and Justice Secretary. Strength, brilliant debater with razor-sharp intellect. Weakness, still suspected of having a disloyal gene after knifing Boris Johnson in last leadership contest. Verdict, popular with the Tory members, who, crucially, will vote for the new leader. Gavin Williamson 50/1 age, 42. Defense Secretary. Converted Remainer. Background, from a Labour-supporting, working-class family. Ran a pottery firm before becoming an MP. Experience, started his rise as Mrs. May's chief whip, leapfrogged experienced colleagues to land defense job. Strength, matinee idol looks and knack for self-promotion. Weakness, military chiefs nicknamed him Private Pike after Dad's Army character. Suggested missiles should be fitted to tractors. Verdict, in 19th place in league table. Liz Truss 50/1 age, 43 Chief Secretary to Treasury. Brexiteer. Background, raised by left-wing parents and as a child was marched through the streets on anti-Thatcher protest shouting, "Maggie out." Experience, joint author in 2012 of a controversial booklet, Britannia Unchained, which alleged the British are among the worst idlers in the world. Strength, a genuine free marketeer. Weakness, poor public speaker with a mixed ministerial record. Verdict, only 15th in Conservative Home Leaders League table. Sajid Javid 9/1 age, 49. Home Secretary. Remainer who changed to Brexit after the referendum. Background, son of a bus driver who came to Britain from Pakistan with £1 in his pocket. Was head of credit trading at Deutsche Bank. Experience, previously Culture and Business Secretary, ed down on union rights. Strength, an extraordinary rags to riches backstory that we will hear more of during the leadership campaign. Weakness, widely seen as a wooden and a poor speaker. Verdict, in